it's Maha. Nice to see you. I woke up super early this morning and I was going to record this video, but it didn't work out because the sun was really bright. It's a beautiful day outside today. It's gorgeous where I am. Birds are singing and it's just so beautiful. It's like such a perfect spring day. I'm doing the top 5 decks video response to Kelly Bear, and it's kind of a video that's been circulating around YouTube for the past couple of weeks, and I wasn't gonna do it, to be honest with you, because I just felt like there is no way I can pick 5 decks only out of the 150 decks that I own, and so I wasn't gonna do it. And then I thought, well, it was really interesting to watch other people's responses, and it kind of inspired me to do a short video. I have to say though that the decks that I've chosen are not really my favorite decks. They are they're more the decks that I feel that at this moment I'm having to be around, and this can change tomorrow, it can change in a week, I don't know. I mean, I'm always changing my mind, so today, as of now, these are the decks that I feel I need to be around and that I couldn't live without. And yeah, so I picked 2 Oracle decks and 3 Tarot decks. And I want to go through the Oracle decks first. So the first deck is my very special bird cards deck, and I've talked about this deck before. I've done a video review of it as well. It is one of my top 5s because I just love the energy of this deck. I mean, this is definitely a deck I would call high vibration deck. It's just like the images are so full of light and love, and this is a deck that's not very popular out there on the community. I haven't seen any reviews or any talks about it. It's funny how sometimes certain decks seem to keep coming up, and then certain decks never come up. And this is one of those decks that for some reason people don't talk about it. Although, having said that, the people I've spoken to who have worked with this deck and who own it just love it, like absolutely love it. We totally agree that this is such an accurate deck. I mean, every single card that I've drawn with this deck so far in the past 3 months has been so ever accurate. I am planning on doing a deck comparison between this deck and the other deck that is their sister decks. It's called Ascension to Paradise by the same people, and I want to do a comparison. I've dedicated myself for 3 months of using each deck, and then 1 month of using them in combination, because I want to give like a full honest opinion / review of the decks. So I really want to draw your attention also to this deck because it's one that might have been overlooked, and it's just amazing. So the illustrations are done in colored pencil, and they are so, I mean, you can't really see in this lighting right now, they're so detailed. So there's a little landscape underneath the clouds here, and this is one of my favorite. This is my bird. I identify very much with Roller. On my Instagram I put a picture of the Roller. I love this bird. I love its message, and like I said, every single time I drew a card I just connected so much with what the message was for me. And you know, if you've been watching my videos, you know that I love birds. I own a parrot, and I've owned different kinds of birds throughout my life, and I think birds are just amazing. They are so in tune to nature. They're just so sensitive. They have such amazing vision. They see light so intimately. I don't know how to explain it. They see it not the way we do. My parrot knows what time of the day it is, exactly what time of the day it is, according to the changes in the light. And I don't have to tell him when to eat, when to sleep, when to do anything. He already knows. Like I always say, he talks to the gods. I talk to him and I say, are the gods speaking to you right now? Is it time to sleep? Because he goes and stares into the sky. He just stares sometimes and he just fixates at the light. And then he goes and eats. Or he goes and does something else. Or like, it's just like he is just so connected and it's amazing. Living with a parrot, I don't know if you've ever had a chance to own a parrot or lived around one or know a person who's had a parrot. Well, there is living with a parrot and then there's living with a parrot. And when you truly live with a parrot, like communicate with it and get to know it and connect with it every day, it's something else. It's just an amazing experience, and I don't want to talk too much about it in this video, but I want to make another video in the future. I've thought about it. I thought it'd be really fun to make a video titled The Life Lessons I've Learned from My Parrot, because I've just learned so much from him, and he has connected me to nature in ways that I could not have imagined ever before. And I mean, parrots have highly complex brains. They are, their brains are so similar and their behavior so similar to our own brains. And we can learn so much from them. I've had cats before. I have never had a dog. And I can tell you that it's definitely a different experience having a domesticated animal versus a so-called wild animal, because parrots are considered still wild animals. And it's really challenging in many ways. If I had known what I know now, I wouldn't have gotten a parrot to begin with. Anyway, now I'm rambling about parrots too much. Maybe you're not interested, but it's been amazing. It's been an amazing learning experience to just get in touch with your own nature, for me, through my parrot. And I think birds are just messengers. They have been messengers since ancient times. What I like about this card also is that it has crystals in it. So here there's rhodonite. Is it rhodonite? Yes, it is rhodonite with finch, and there's a lot of symbolism in this deck. I love the way the artist has depicted the birds. I mean, there's just so much detail. Look at that. The pigeon, you know how the pigeon has, if you look at it closely, this kind of iridescent part, like a purpley green part of its neck? Well, you might not see it right now, but in this deck, the way she's captured the colors of birds is just so true to how they really are. I mean, I think she's an amazing, talented artist. It's being an artist myself, I can say that drawing animals is really hard. I mean, if you tell me to draw a dog, it's probably going to turn out looking like a goat or something, because it's just not easy drawing animals for some reason. It's very, very hard. Vulture. And like I said, well, I don't know if I did say, but there are both positive and not so positive. I mean, all aspects of the psyche are really, I found, in this deck. And like stuff of the underworld really comes up, as well as the higher self. And there's a lot of powerful cards. There's a lot of loving energy in this deck. It's really amazing. Swallow. I just wanted to say quickly about the pigeon card that when this came up for me, I was going through a stage in my life where I needed to just cleanse and get rid of negativity in my life. And this card came up and I was wondering, why is the pigeon sitting on incense, an incense burner? Why is the pigeon smoking, or what's happening? And then I just sat with the card for a few days, and when I read the book, what it says about the pigeon is amazing. I mean, there's so much research done in creating this deck, research on the actual birds. And apparently when there's masses of pigeons in a certain area or a certain part of a city, there is accumulated negativity or negative energy in that area, and what the pigeon does is the pigeon is there to cleanse the negative energy. So that's one of the messages of the pigeon, is cleansing. So that was my first deck, which is an oracle deck. The second deck is my ancient feminine wisdom of gods and goddesses and heroines. I chose a goddess deck. And the reason I chose this deck in particular is because I have a very, very close and intimate relationship with this deck. It's not like any of the other decks I own. I have not only learned from all of these goddesses in here, because there are so many. I can't remember how many cards there were, but it's one of the, I feel, very complete decks. They're all Greek mythology, which is nice. I like that. I like the fact that there's just a one pantheon. And I'm also really interested in parallel mythology, and I find that many times gods and goddesses in different cultures mirror other cultures as well. You have that so much, right? So once you get to know a pantheon, like one pantheon really well, then you have an easier time understanding other pantheons, I think. And I just love Kay Stevenson's artwork. There is so much soul to her artwork, I find. It speaks to my soul, it speaks to my heart. It's not just like technically beautiful, there's something else. This is what I find is, I find that great artwork is not just technically sound and beautiful, but has soul. Great artwork has soul to it, and soul is something that you can't learn. You can't learn how to put soul into your art. It's either there or it's not. You can learn how to draw. Everybody can learn how to draw. Even if we think we can't, that's just because our mind is telling us we can't. So many times people tell me, oh, I can't, oh, you're so lucky, you're an artist. I can't even draw a stick man. You know how many times I've had that said to me by different people? I don't think it's true at all, and I always tell them, I think you can learn how to draw. Everyone can learn how to draw. You just have to have the intention and the passion to want to learn. You have to want to learn, and of course you can learn. And I've taught art for several years, so I know that there are techniques for learning. To make a long story short, I don't think you can learn how to put soul into your work. This is why certain artists throughout history have been so famous, because they spoke to people on a different level. They weren't just visually enticing the viewers, they were speaking to them on deeper levels. Like, for example, Vincent van Gogh. I mean, he really spoke his soul. He could portray that, and that is the art that you can't learn. That's just something you have within you. You can, however, learn to express it, and I think that's the trouble that many beginning artists have, is that they have a hard time expressing themselves authentically. And that's not an easy thing to do. It gets better with age and with practice. And anyway, I'm giving you a lesson on art right now. Getting back to the cards, I love the... By the way, maybe you guys can comment if you like it when I ramble, or you want me to be just straight to the point, because I don't really, I mean, I guess I can just do whatever I want, and who cares. If you like it, that's good. I mean, I'm glad if you like it, but this is a ramble video. This is going to be probably a ramble video. So, Amphitrite is one of my favorite cards, and I'm going to tell you guys how I connected with this card, this deck, even before I knew this deck existed. So Harmony, this particular image I fell in love with when I was studying Harmonia. I think it was for astrology, for an archetypes class that I was taking 2 years ago. And I googled, maybe it was more than 2 years ago, I googled Harmonia images, and I found this image on Google Images. Just the image. I didn't know who the artist was or anything. I fell in love with the image. I printed it in color, large 8x10, and I put it on my altar, and I've had it on my altar ever since. And then when I discovered this deck, I looked at the artwork and I thought, oh, it reminds me of the Harmonia image I have. So I discovered that it's the same artist. So I fell in love with her artwork even before I knew who she was, and I fell in love with this image from this deck before I even knew about it. And this deck has, the images have so much detail in them. And in a way, I wish that maybe the images were bigger. If they ever republish this deck with bigger images, I would so love that. Maybe like a smaller border and more emphasis on the image, because here, I don't know if you can see, but there are two faces in the clouds. This is supposed to be Mars, and that's supposed to be Venus. And Harmonia is the child that was born by the mating between, well, the love, Aries and, sorry, start again. Aries is Mars. Aries is a Greek god Mars. Mars is the Roman version. And Venus and Aries were lovers. In Greek mythology, throughout their whole story, they were always lovers, on and off. And they made one baby, amongst others, who is this goddess Harmonia. And the idea, when she talks about that beautifully in the book, is that Venus symbolizes love and Mars symbolizes war and conflict. So the harmony of these two, it creates harmony. So the blending of these two creates harmony. So we have somewhere in the middle, in the middle of love and war, we have harmony. Harmony is born from the marriage of love and war. That's really beautiful, I thought. So that was my second deck, and the third deck is kind of a boring one. But it is important to me, and it's one deck that I couldn't live without, so I'm going to present it. The typical universal weight tarot deck, which I got 11 years ago. And at the time I had no idea what all these symbols meant. I almost gave up on tarot when I got that. Yeah, so you know, that one's just a standard deck. I picked it because this is the deck that I learned tarot from and with, and I highly respect their system, and so it's definitely going to be a deck that's always going to be in my top 5, top 3, top whatever. It's always going to be there. And then the next one is the Animal Totem Tarot. Again, I talked about this in another video I did. Animal Totem deck is a fairly recent deck that just came out by Llewellyn, and it's a beautiful, beautiful deck. And again, I had to pick a deck that had animals in it. So, because I can't live without animals, I think animals have a lot to teach us, and they are here for our ascension, maybe illumination. Just, I don't know, they're messengers just like birds. All animals are, and the animal kingdom is just amazing. And learning tarot, the system of tarot through animals is just, it makes sense to me. I mean, we don't have to just look at images of people to understand our own lives. We can understand our lives through animals in such deep ways, such insightful ways, that it's really valuable to study their behavior, to understand our own. Two of Pentacles. I've shown some of these images. I don't really have a favorite. So far, I love them all. I think they're all unique in their own way. I'm doing a daily draw with this deck because I followed the book. The book has a section for like just questions, journaling and stuff, and that's what I'm doing. I've started doing that. I drew this card the other day, the King of Pentacles, and it's amazing how accurate to the sign of Taurus this is. And I will, like I've promised, I've been promising that I'm going to do my astrology tarot series, and I will. I just wasn't really ready for it, and I have a lot more videos to, not a lot, but probably 10 more videos to do, to finish off with before I do that series. But then I'll really focus on each sign and the cards in tarot that are attributed to each sign and each archetype, and I'm just so excited for that, you guys. Okay, so the last deck is the Mary L, and this was a little bit of a surprise for me. I've been working, I got this Mary L, I got the Mary L deck 2.5 years ago maybe, and still is one of the decks that I work with and I meditate with, contemplate with, to try and still get to know. I think this deck is just so rich with imagery and symbolism, and there's just no way I could ever get bored of this deck, and I could never stop learning. So it's perfect for me because I am a Sagittarius and I love learning, love so much learning. And another reason I think this deck is just very, I respect this deck. I have high respect for this deck. I think this deck is alive to me. I think the images are, not only do they have soul like I was describing, also they are just, as a painter, she is phenomenal. I mean, she is just super amazingly talented, this woman, and I would love to meet her one day. Her artwork is so rich, and I love looking at it because I can see all the textures of the canvas and the paint, and it makes me really want to paint again. I miss painting. I haven't done any oil painting in a long time, and when I look at this, it's just like, so delicious. I want to paint because all the colors and the way they're sitting on the surface, you can just really see the quality is great. You can really see what's happening. I'm not gonna say which are my favorite cards because I love all the cards in here. The artwork is just phenomenal. But I love this one, and this is another one that makes me yum yum yum. I just want to eat it because it's so deliciously painted. If I was stuck on a desert island with nothing but the Mary L. Tarot deck, I would never be bored. I would never be bored. I would be looking at the images trying to figure out, what is all this? I mean, she doesn't describe all of it in the book. There's just so much symbolism contained in some of the cards that you're just like, what? How is this the 9 of discs? I mean, come on. You have to really study this deck. You really have to study this deck. This is why I really highly respect it. I love what she says about the Page of Cups. Is it the Page of Cups? This one, yes, it is. First of all, the card itself is so beautiful. There's a quote. I'm going to read it quickly at the beginning. You cannot direct the wind, but you can adjust your sails. Yiddish proverb. Oh, okay. So yeah, I love that card. It's very, I just dropped a whole bunch of cards. I love that card. And then I love this. The 4 of Cups. Again, look at the way that's painted. It's, the term I would use is painterly. It's just so thick and rich and juicy with paint. And so I'm going to tell you quickly why I love this card. This is a card that really cleared up any confusions I had about the 4 of Cups. The 4 of Cups was always one of those cards in tarot that I kind of had a problem with, because I always look at the astrological associations of all the cards, and this one in particular is Cancer, Moon in Cancer. So the Moon in Cancer is highly emotional, sensitive, absorbs the feelings of others. And on the card, as you're well aware of that card, it's first of all, the keywords are always boredom, dissatisfaction, and then the image is just like this guy sitting and not caring about this heavenly cup that's been presented to him. And I always thought, what is that heavenly cup? Is that opportunities? And then when I saw this card, that's when it just clicked. Without even reading anything in the book, actually, I resonate more with the image than what she has written. I do actually really love what she's written, but this image, and seeing that shell, right away I thought, wow, gift. That's a gift. That shell is a gift. It's a treasure. And look at the ocean, the storm of emotions, and the ocean really symbolizing the bank, the storage house of memories and emotions. And then dropping this little shell just on the sand, very subtly, a little shell that we might just step on and miss and not even see, and many people might not even consider shells as treasures. I certainly do. Many people don't, and they might just step on them and crack them and throw them around. But so, having said that, this gift that we're being offered by this great ocean of emotion, by this great mother, this divine mother that's offering us these gifts from her own depth of emotion. Anyway, I can go on, I can make a separate video, but I wanted to make a separate video about this card. But this card, just the image itself, really cleared everything for me. And there are other cards in this deck that did the same thing. So that's why I picked that card. And I'm at 25 minutes and 36 seconds right now. I didn't want to make this long at all. But I was so happy to be with you guys here today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. And I would love to hear your comments. Take care. Love you all. Mwah. Bye-bye.